always on every single Thursday morning, we have the pleasure to have Mr. Nico Kleynhans with us in studio. Mr. Nico, this morning we have quite an interesting topic. This is a good week for people in debt.
Yes, not only is it a good week, the minister has finally done something that we like. That's the minister who makes these kind of decisions.
Mm.
And he announced that debt, the interest rate on debt, in other words, the consumer, that affects our debt, is going to drop by a quarter of 1%. Now, you may wonder why I'm getting excited about a quarter of 1%, and that's why I'm talking about this theme this morning. A typical family in South Africa owes the bank on a home loan, and a typical family would have a home loan of around 1.4, 1.5 million rand. And such a family will have a term on that home loan of around 20 years. And they will pay off, and let me get the figure exactly right here, they will pay off about 15,172 rand a month on that particular home loan. And the gift of cutting the interest rate by a quarter percent means that they have 242 rand a month extra in their pockets. So now the question is, what are you going to do with that 242 rand? A lot of people are going to go and bless Kentucky Fried Chicken and go and get a meal there, and they're going to blow the 242 rand. Others who have kids who are a little younger are going to go and spend it at McDonald's. That's not a good thing to do that. And I'm going to suggest there is an alternative way of using that 242 rand. And the issue is, go to your bank and say to your bank, instead of reducing my home loan repayment by 242, keep taking off 15,172 rand a month, and then reduce the term of the home loan instead. So instead of me owing you money for 240 more payments, I will in fact stop paying you 22 months earlier because of that quarter of 1%. So I will in fact save 152,000 rand. Now do you see why I'm getting a little excited?
Yeah, absolutely.
And not only that, there are going to be another 4 such decreases in the next 12 months.
That's good news.
So potentially on debt, you could be reducing your total debt load by nearly 600,000 rand. Now, it does mean that Kentucky is not going to make as much money, and it does mean that McDonald's is not going to make so much money, but it does mean you are going to benefit much more. That is why I'm getting excited. Now we take it a step further. We look at what's happening to the petrol price. Now there have been significant changes. Now what affects the petrol price? There are 2 very different factors that affect the petrol price. We buy petrol outside of South Africa and we pay in US dollars. That price goes through an auction. So if there's more demand than there is supply, that price changes. If there is less demand and more supply, that price also changes. So that price in dollar terms changes on a daily basis. So when that dollar price changes, it affects our pocket. Then when we go and buy that fuel in Singapore, theoretically, we pay in rand terms. So the rand dollar exchange rate also changes. Now in February, when we would go and buy dollars, we paid 19 rand and 31 cents to get $1. The last time we went shopping, we paid 17 rand and 26 cents to get $1. So the petrol price has been dropping because the rand is now the strongest currency in the world. Let me say that again. It's
Really?
now the strongest currency. So people are buying lots and lots of rand, and that means we benefit from that. And we use rand to buy petrol, and we benefit from that as well. And that's been one of the reasons why the petrol price has been dropping. But now, if I were dictator in South Africa, I would go a step further, because included in the price of petrol, we give some money to the Road Accident Fund. And that is a corrupt organization. They waste, and a lot of the money we are giving them is not used correctly. If I were dictator, I would go to that organization and saying, you're not going to get so much money every month. I'm going to give you less, and you're going to have to clean up your act. And I'm going to pass on that benefit to South African consumers. And then I'm going to go to that Minister of Finance, and I'm going to say, you're going to have to stop wasting our petrol money on Eskom, on SIA, and all those other projects. And I'm going to ask you to cut the taxes by another 2 rand. And that way around, we can reduce the petrol price easily by another 4 rand a litre without too much disruption in the economy. Because at the end of the day, it is the consumers like you and myself that are funding things that we should not be funding. And we need a break. We deserve a break, and we should be getting a break. So we need a couple of more dictators in this country so that we can come cleaner a lot quicker. And we certainly need to be using our money a little more wisely so that we're not burdened quite so much by debt. That's my solution.
Thank you, Mr. Nico. And I think some really, really good advice there as well. Things that we can do, practical things. And yeah, thank you so much for that, Mr. Nico Kleynhans. If you would like more details, or if you would like to get in touch with him, you can send an email to questions@northwood.co.za. Like always, Mr. Nico Kleynhans, very insightful, and we thank you for your time.